Shalom. Kal Halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to all the Akim doing this work in sincerity and in truth. This is the brother Yakanan from the GMS Houston camp. And I don't have a title for this lesson yet, but it's pretty much going into an excerpt from the Book of Five Rings by Musashi Miyamoto, who was a samurai, and he wrote this book called the Book of Five Rings. And he would be considered a Stoic, so something similar to maybe Marcus Aurelius or other Stoics. And the excerpt is from a part of the book called the Book of Water, and I'll just read a small portion of it. A small man can beat a much larger man, and one man can beat many men in a fight. Allow your wisdom to develop by constantly striving to perfect yourself in your own art and by understanding the arts of others. When you understand yourself and you understand the enemy, you cannot be defeated. Be aware at all times of what is right and wrong among men. Do not permit yourselves to be intimidated by the size of the enemy. Do not be fooled by your own misunderstanding of what your purpose is. To do so is wrong. To do so is wrong thinking and means that you are not studying the principles of my way properly. And even though Musashi Miyamoto had his school, and this is pretty much the Book of Five Rings is his way, his discipline of fighting, if you're in this truth, following the way of Yahushai, and I'm just using this as an example, something to look to, something to pull examples from, because when I was reading this, precepts are popping in my mind left and right of things that I could apply the scriptures to, or we should, in short, be able to apply the scriptures to these things. Not just read the scriptures and in one ear, out the other. You need to fully be immersed in these scriptures to understand when and where to apply the scriptures, what scriptures to apply. But continuing on, I just have pretty much this paragraph. I'm going to go back through and read script or apply scriptures to them. A small man can beat a much larger man. And an example that should come to mind right off the bat is King David when he fought Goliath. Goliath was much larger than King David, which he wasn't king at the time, but he was still much larger than him, had more experience in war than him. But it doesn't matter, because King David put him to death without even using the standard weapons of war. He used a sling and a stone. And I'll just read that real quick. This is 1 Samuel 17:49. And David put his hand in his bag and took thence a stone and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, and the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So, That's pretty plain right there. David put that stone embedded in his forehead. That was dug in there. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, took his sword. He took Goliath's own sword and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head therewith. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And it should be no thing. Like when you read the script, when I read this is what came to mind. A small man beating a much larger man. And continuing on, and one man can beat many men in a fight. And what comes to mind there? Well, for me, what came to my mind was Samson when he was fighting the Philistines again. Well, this is before David. He was fighting the Philistines before David. And this is when I think the men of Israel had captured Samson, and they brought him bound to the Philistines. And this is Judges 15 and 14. And when he came unto Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the spirit of Yahweh came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands loosed from off his hands. And he found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand, and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. So that's one man beating many men. He beat 1,000 men with just a jawbone of an ass. But once again, he's not using what would have been a conventional weapon at the time. So the Lord, just in these times, even though we're not doing anything carnal, these are things that we should look back to when we're out on the highways and the byways, because people will come up scoffing, or just normal everyday life. Like you have people that look rich, or people that are rich in the world that do dress a certain way, and they can look intimidating to the untrained eye, but it doesn't mean anything, because chances are they don't have the power of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai with them. So really, they don't have anything. So it shouldn't be a thing of you being scared or feeling any kind of way about these uncircumcised heathen, whether it be our own people coming up scoffing, saying we're not the men of the Lord. Because you can tell just by their actions that the Lord isn't with them. So what is there to worry about? Continuing on, back to the Book of Five Rings. Allow your wisdom to develop by constantly striving to perfect yourself in your own art, and by understanding the arts of others. And that word art in the etymon is a skill, or skill as a result of learning or practice. So us learning these scriptures and applying them, we are perfecting ourselves. Even though we'll never actually be perfect in this flesh, we won't be perfect until we get the new bodies, until Yahushua returns to retrieve his elect. That's when we'll be perfect, and then all Israel will be perfect. We won't have to strive anymore for mastery, because when Yahushua returns and we receive new bodies, we will be masters of these scriptures. It won't have to go back and forth and, oh man, what was that? I forgot. What was that scripture again? Having to remember words and then, typing it in into Google and then coming to find out you typed the whole thing wrong. But Google got it for you anyway, even though you butchered the precept you were trying to get because you misremembered a few words. But anyway, continuing on, this is Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. And that's what the scriptures are for. This is what we have them for, so we can go back and look at what our forefathers did, how they handled things. Look at the wise sayings of Solomon, Baruch, and other men. The Psalms of David, the men that have Psalms in the Psalms, the men that wrote Psalms, those wise sayings, so we can go back and learn from them, learn from the mistakes that other men made. Learn from them being corrected. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. And learning these scriptures, it's comforting, and it also works our patience, which the patience is suffering without breaking, because we read about the suffering of our forefathers, what they went through, how they were comforted, and how they endured, so that we can learn from them. Because if we didn't have that, we didn't have this memorial or things to look to, what would we would really have nothing to go on, no foundation. We would be like these people in the world. We would probably think that we're already saved. All this, like these people, that have no knowledge. Continuing on to the Book of Five Rings, when you understand yourself and you understand the enemy, you cannot be defeated. And then it's like going back to the arts of others and understanding the enemy and understanding ourselves. For one, understanding ourselves, we understand our shortcomings, how we can improve, what can be improved. Our enemies, they're looking to throw us off balance constantly by throwing these things that like intimidation or mocking, or even these spirits to try to knock us off in the spiritual realm. But I'm thinking about Esau in particular, because that's our main enemy. But he's carnal. Everything that he's going to come at you with is carnal, whether it be food, like I said, mockery, intimidation, whatever. But when you understand him, we have the scriptures to give us an understanding into Esau. This dude gave up his birthright over some uncooked meat. He couldn't even go without eating for a short time. And he's a scary little bitch. Like, he couldn't even, when we were coming out of Egypt, when Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai led us out of Egypt, they wouldn't even let us pass through because they're so fucking scared. So this man is carnal, and he's scared, and you could see it on him. But he'll do anything, any little sly, backhanded thing to try to prevent this from happening, but he can't stop it. Why? Why can't he stop it? Because Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is on our side, on the side of Israel. When you understand yourself and you understand the enemy, you cannot be defeated. And this is 1 Corinthians 9:24. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. And that's what we're looking for in this. Each one of us, elect men, or hopefully elect men, are seeking for a prize. We're seeking for the crown. Seeking for the crown of glory. We're seeking to be the elect. But whether we are or not, that's of the Lord. It's not up to us to decide. It's not up to us. So run that ye may obtain, that every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. So to be temperate means to... All right, let me go grab this real quick, because... Let me see. This word temperate, that's what I just want to look at. Dog it. Bear with me. This is temperate for G1467. Eg kratuemai means to exercise self-restraint, contain, to be self-controlled, continent, to exhibit self-government, conduct oneself temperately. In a figure drawn from athletes who, in preparing themselves for the games, abstain from unwholesome food, wine, and sexual indulgence. And this is one of the things that Esau will come at you with. Because look around here in Babylon. You can't get nothing healthy to eat here. Even if you try, it's got some kind of GMO stuff in it, or it's just been exposed to the air. Just being exposed to being here in Babylon, it's already tainted. So that's why you pray over everything. Pray over everything that you touch. Pray over your food. Pray over your water. If you get seconds, pray over that. If you get another glass of water, pray over that. Because they're looking to throw you off at any moment. And to be temperate, because these women are wicked too, and these women are weaponized against you, Jake. Understand that. Well, speaking to myself first and foremost, understand that you don't really need to. If you don't have a woman right now, like Apostle Paul said, if you don't have a woman right now, don't seek after one. If you have one, be like you don't have one. But you'll be better off without the distractions. Rid yourself from these distractions. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we incorruptible. So these people that train in these fights, whether it be MMA or these other athletes, they have to eat certain food. They have to train certain ways. They have to do certain things to get their physique and to compete. So they have to refrain from doing certain things, from going overboard. And if you don't have discipline, you're not going to receive a physical crown. And especially if you don't have discipline in the spirit, in this ministry, in this walk, you're not going to receive the incorruptible crown. Now, sure, all of Israel will be saved and will never die again, but only the elect, the 144,000 of Israel, are going to be able to claim this crown. Continuing on, this is 2 Corinthians 10 and verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach. So what we're learning here through the scriptures is not carnal means. We're learning spiritual warfare, how to fight this battle spiritually, not physically. We learn these scriptures, and we're not doing this just to cut 12 Edomites get decapitated by the word. No, this is a job to do. We are not ordered to even really do any of that. We're just here to bring out the scriptures, to prophesy the downfall of this kingdom, to prophesy the return of Yahushua, to bring good news to those that will hear it, and to bring bad news to others, even if they won't hear it. And we subdued ourselves under the yoke of Yahushua. Like Yahushua said, matter of fact, I get it. So I'm thinking about when Yahushua said, I think it's 12 legions of angels. This is Matthew 26, and I'll start at 51. This is when it doesn't say it in this, but it was Peter. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So I'll just continue. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled that thus it must be? So Yahushua didn't give us any kind of commandment to get physical. That doesn't mean we can't defend ourselves if anything happens, but Yahushua himself said, I can ask my Father and he can send me 12 legions of angels. And that isn't that time. This is when Yahushua returns. That's when we'll see them legions of angels. And that's what I look forward to. Lord willing, I'll still be here to see them angels returning. And if not, I'll see y'all on the chariots. Lord willing, I'll be able to see it from the heavens. I'll be with Yahushua if I'm not here. If I happen to perish, you know? So continuing on. continuing on, and this is how do you say? The enemy, they know us. They know our weaknesses. Esau has done a diligent search. He knows us in and out. He even knows our shopping habits. He knows what we like. Why do you think he comes out with, a new chicken sandwich every 6 months or something like that, or some kind of new designer clothes or some bullshit, whatever? Because he knows what we like. He knows we like designer things. He knows we like to feel good, to relax, and all this kind of stuff. That's why he gives us all this, so we can go back and slumber or whatever, or be worried about other shit. This is Judith 5:17, and this is Achior speaking to Holofernes. And whilst they sinned not before their power, and whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because Yahweh that hateth iniquity was with them. So what's that telling you right there? Yahweh hates iniquity. He dislikes it strongly. He hates it. It cannot even be presented in front of him. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And what has happened here? We're here in Babylon the Great, North America, South America, wherever we are around the world, but mainly here in America, getting our ass whooped every day because we are separated from our power. But through Yahweh Shai, we have been brought back close to our power. And this is scaring the shit out of Edomites and all the heathen. Whether they try to act like it or not, they are terrified. And were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. And who took the temple down? That was Esau, Edom. He said, raise it, raise it. And what else did they say in Ezekiel? Aha, even the ancient places are in our possession. And that's to this day. They think they got it over there. They are not fitting the prophecies. That's why there's protests, there's war going on over there, and ultimately it's going to be wiped off the face of the earth and then rebuilt when the true Israelites come back. But now are they turned to their power and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. And that's what they're looking for, to keep us constantly in error, to keep us constantly off balance, to keep us constantly thinking about shit that doesn't matter. And it's like about to win, I'm gonna have to part. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. And that's what's going to happen. Y'all are ultimately going to fail. Continuing on with the Book of Five Rings. Do not permit yourself to be intimidated by the size of the enemy. Like, the one that comes to mind is I think it's Numbers. Let me see here. Yeah, Numbers chapter 13. When they brought, when the spies came back, the spies, Caleb and Yahushai, they brought a good report, but the rest, they brought a bad report. They were scared. This is what, I'll go ahead and read it. This is Numbers 13 and 30. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are able to overcome it." But the men that went up with him said, "We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we." And that's not the kind of thinking that you want to be in, because we have Yahweh, Yahushai on our side. The rest of these people, they have nothing. They have wood and stone. They have false gods. There are no gods. They really have nothing to believe in. They have no power backing them. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, "The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature." And they were scared by the land, by the stature of the men, how tall they were, whatever, how built they were. But these people still ain't nothing. Who cares? Do they have Yahweh on their side? No. So what can they do? If Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is in control of everything, what can anybody do? If he said, "Go and take the land," you can be like, "Oh, but the people are too big." No, you don't want to be around that person. You don't want to be in battle or in a fight with somebody scared, or that person being scared on your side. You want the scared people to be on the enemy's side. Let them be afraid, not you. And there we saw giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were we in their sight. So it's just weak thinking. Don't be intimidated by these people, how they come up looking, whether they say some shit. And this is speaking to myself first and foremost. How they say, well, they had a guy come out to the camp, the pre-camp on Friday, doing his finger guns, pointing at us, and got out of the car all drunk, saying, "What is this, some African shit?" Or whatever, disrespecting, being drunk and disrespectful. But he wasn't nothing to be afraid of. He was nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be intimidated by. Because really, it just puts in perspective, like, oh, this is the guy, this is the people that be on the comment boards, talking shit, how much they hate black people, or so-called black people, how much they hate us. And then to see one of these people live and up front, this sloppy mess, this low-level person, this overweight person, I'm to be scared or intimidated by this? It's like, no, I've seen your face now. You're nothing. You're below. You're lowered, like Quabad said in the on the camp Saturday on the video. These people are lowered in the spit under your shoe, something like that, roughly paraphrasing. But these people ain't nothing. And even the Lord himself, Yahweh, he refers to them as being spittle, like a drop from a bucket. These people are nothing. Yashar Allah is precious to Yahweh. It doesn't say that about any other nation. This is Philippians chapter 1 and verse 27 in the NLT. Above all, you must live as citizens of heaven, conducting yourselves in a manner worthy of the good news about Hamashiach. So we need to conduct ourselves, whether it be alone, on the block, with other men, but conduct ourselves in a manner that we're worthy of this good news. Then whether I come and see you again or only hear about you, I will know that you are standing together with one spirit and one purpose, fighting together for the faith, which is the good news. And we're fighting, we're standing strong, Lord willing. We are fighting for this truth. We are fighting for the gospel. This isn't the gospel of the world. This is the gospel. This is Yahushai's gospel, Yahweh's gospel. This is the good news for Israel. This is what we're standing for. We're seeking our kingdom. And the good news is this is almost over. The good news is the scriptures. The good news is, well, I'll continue. Don't be intimidated in any way by your enemies. This will be a sign to them that they are going to be destroyed, but that you are going to be saved, even by the Most High himself. So this is the good news. Bad news for them, good news for us. The good news, they're going to be destroyed. The also good news is that we're going to be saved. We're going to be saved by the Most High. He's going to send his son. Like 2nd Ezra 13. If we make it through this, he's going to give us a crown. Imagine being able to meet Yahushai and receive a crown from him. For him to tell you, hey, good work. Good work. Good work. Whatever else he might say, but just to see that in itself. Continuing on. This is Jeremiah 1 and 17. Thou therefore gird up thy loins and arise and speak unto them all that I command thee. Be not dismayed at their faces, lest I confound thee before them. And this is what we're commanded to do. We're commanded to go out into the highways and byways to speak the word, whether they hear or forbear. Doesn't matter how our own nation looks at us being crazy. What are they wearing? They're wearing dresses. It doesn't matter about these other nations. Because the 2/3 of our nation have joined unto the other nations, whether they know it or not. We're really going to be intimidated by these people that have no hope, that worship Caesar Borgia, they worship these things that have no power in them. And if you are, you're going to end up confounded. You're going to end up out there, ass out, thinking you're still in the truth. Not even knowing that you're confused. Not even knowing that you fell out. Thinking that you're still in the fight. You sitting around swinging at the air. Back to the Book of 5 Rings. Do not be fooled by your own misunderstanding of what your purpose is. To do so is wrong thinking and means that you are not studying the principles of my way properly. And even though this is Musashi Miyamoto that wrote this, we're following the way of Yahushua, and this applies. If we don't know what our purpose is, you don't know what your purpose is in the ministry, you don't know what your purpose is in life, then you're thinking wrong, and you ain't been studying the scriptures right. You haven't been going precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. You haven't been doing it, and you're going to end up way off course. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 5. Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. That's to test yourself. You know whether or not you're walking in faith. You have the scriptures to prove, like to go by, to examine yourself by. You have the scriptures as a milestone, or the word escapes me right now, but you have the scriptures to go by, to measure yourself to. Know ye not your own selves, how Yahushua Hamashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. But I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates, and that is to be rejected. You're not rejects. You examine yourself diligently. See how you're walking. Examine your mindset. What irritates you? These things. Get yourself in check. If you don't, it's gonna run rampant. Like one of these dogs, like a service dog, a guard dog, whatever. If they're trained right, if they're trained, they'll do whatever you command them to do. You got a guard dog, guard the house. You got a CNI dog, or one of those service dogs that'll help you get places or whatever they do. If they're trained right, they'll do exactly what they are supposed to do, exactly what you got them for. But if they're not, you got a guard dog, he doesn't bark. There's somebody coming around, snooping around your house, the dog doesn't bark. The dog lets the intruder come up to them, start licking their hand and stuff like that, all being buddy-buddy with them. What is the use of that dog? Get rid of it. You got a CNI dog that walks you out in the middle of traffic. What's the point of that? This is Jeremiah 1 and 10. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down and to build and to plant. So we're doing this through the word. We are over the nations, for one, because we're the sons of Israel. Even though the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, when Yahushua returns, that's going to change. New leadership under Yahushua, and then under his men. But first, we're here to prophesy to these nations, to prophesy their destruction. And to build up Israel, the elect of Israel. Not all of Israel, because 2/3 of Israel are going to be cut off, but they'll be back in the kingdom. So we're building up the elect of Israel. We call ourselves the hopeful elect, because we don't know. We won't know until Yahushua gets here. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. And we know, well, first off, read the scriptures, you apply them, you learn about the judgments of the Lord. You see the types of judgments that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, will and can bring out. And that should start fear in you. And that should make you want to keep his commandments. And we know in this flesh we can't keep all of Yahweh's commandments. But through us believing in Yahushai, we've got somewhat of a chance. We do what Yahushai commanded us. So everything was given to Yahushai. We do what he commands us. He commanded us to go out and preach, to love thy brother, etc. But this is our whole duty. Verse 14, for the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So everything is going to come to the judgment seat. We're going to be weighed in the balance. Whether we hear, well done, let me see here. Let me just pull it up. And this is just real quick. This is Matthew 25 and 23. This is about the talents that Yahushua gave out. And the ones that return the talents with interest, they're going to hear, well done. But let me just go ahead and read it. Matthew 25 and 23. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And that's what we're looking to hear. We're looking to hear, well done. We're not looking to be that wicked servant who hid his talent or anything like that. We're not looking to get the reward of the wicked. We're not looking to get the reward of the 2/3 of Israel that return through the elect of Israel. We're not looking for that reward. We're looking for the reward of the elect of Israel. That glorious crown that won't fade away. So this concludes the lesson. Slaki for rambling. I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai.